Hi, 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 hi. Hello, hello, hello. Day 3 of GCTV, Good Conscious Television. Ran on a little yesterday, so I'm going to make this as short and sweet as I can, although I've got a lot to share with you guys. And it's all about peace and how to find it and how to generate it in the hearts of others, showing them how to do it too. Okay, so today's and the next couple of days' topics, uh, we talked about basically what this channel's about. It's about you, your interaction, us coming together and making this a more peaceful planet. It's not a pipe dream. It's not a kumbaya. It's really very easy to do once we stop thinking about money and time and relating the two, because these concepts have distracted humans from transcending the self concept in order to solve the big problems that have arisen by focusing too much on time and money. So, next couple days, since we've addressed a little bit about the bullies and the arms and how to fly above that, once you realize fighting is a waste of time and money, and let's be frank, it kills people. Do you want to kill someone? Yeah, there's a few people that I'd like taken out of the picture, but not killed. Just maybe padded cell, straitjacket, and sedation. Not killed. Or kilt, as we say in Scotland, eh? Yay. I'll show you the family kilt, the family tartan, soon enough. It's the Chambers tartan. And yes, there's a link to Roslin Castle. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now. So, right now, I'd like to introduce the concepts of how to overcome, how to make right this massive homelessness situation that is really, really getting out of control all over the planet, all over the major cities, and all the major countries. The homelessness is heartbreaking. I don't know how many of you have had interaction with homeless people, apart from maybe chucking them a few loose bits of change just to do what you can in the moment. Well, it's very complicated. It's become a very complicated situation because we haven't really focused and addressed enough time and money into realizing how it happened and how to turn it back to unhappen. First, I'd like to say one of my first real gurus chose to be homeless. He was a Navy pilot in Vietnam, and he explained to me, Dennis, I don't know if you're out there anymore, DJ, but if you are, thank you for what you taught me. Dennis used to have to drop a whole bunch of bombs, napalm, whatever, and he introduced the concept of the ripple effect, of dropping arms, weapons, explosive devices, fiery explosive devices on peasant farmers that really didn't ask for a war. And the trauma that it brought. So, this was my first good friend in college, and he was one of my gurus. And he really helped to shift my focus. I've never looked down on anyone. I'm not short, but I've never looked down on anyone thinking they're lesser than I just because they're down and out living in the street, uh, or disenfranchised for some reason and having a hard go. The finance part of the homelessness problem, we'll get to that a little later. The feeding the homeless is easier than you think. I look to my dear friend, Chef Jose Andre. I mean, come on, man. The guy is a true saint. Not the church kind of saint, but the guy who has a big enough heart to realize these people need to be fed, and they need to be fed something that's nutritious and keeps them positive in a very tough situation. So, feeding the homeless. Follow the chef Jose Andres and their World Kitchen Outreach, whatever it's called now. It's magnificent, and there's lots of things modeling off that about how to feed people. But really, it's not as hard as we think when we're motivated, when we're focused. There's plenty of food on this planet to feed 8 billion people. Well, there's not 8 billion hungry homeless, but to address the hunger, the nutrition needs of those who can't afford to buy a $16 loaf of artisan sourdough French bread. I'd recommend San Luis Sourdough because I know the company, and you can get it for $4.99 on sale, and it's delicious. Anyway, not meant to be a shameless plug for Slow Sourdough, but that's a sourdough company here in California that's pretty awesome. And I like sourdough. We like sourdough. I'm from the Peninsula, San Francisco area. For many of the first 19 years of living in this body, anyway. It's easier to feed hungry people than we want to believe. Jeff Bridges is the Bridges family. They're all super people. Used to play tennis with Lloyd. Jeff, I don't know that well. I met Bo. Anyway, it's not about me and those names. It's about what they do. They help feed people. Jeff Bridges and his group help feed kids that are having a hard time eating good food so that when they go to school, they can stay alert and learn. So feeding kids. Just Google it, folks, how to feed the hungry. It's not that hard. It starts by handing food to someone who's hungry. Now, there's another kind of food, not the physical eat it and expel it type of food, and that's love food. Love food basically is compassion, and if you learn how to develop empathy, putting yourself in other people's positions, walk in their shoes, get a look from their perspective, you'll see you can feed them compassion, which is really powerful because now we're getting into balanced mental state. That's what compassion brings, balance through perspective. A lot of the homeless and those living rough, the people that are hungry and don't have a shelter, food, both physical and mental, nutrition, sustainment, balance. First step. Second step, of course, is to give them some kind of shelter. Can't all crowd under a bridge. Can't all crowd into the forest. There are so many people that are homeless. It's heartbreaking. very much an economic situation because it's so darn expensive for rent, let alone buying property or a house. Mental health care, as my friend Prince Harry and these wonderful people, Selena Gomez, I mean, all these people that are saying it's okay to talk about your feelings to someone who's a professional, who talks back to you, doesn't just say, tell me about it, but that is a two-way street. This is real mental therapy. When the therapist, and I know a lot of you out there will say this is not professional protocol, but when the therapist speaks from their experience and helps get into the conversation with whoever they're trying to help balance thought with, it helps, because just like all the anonymous groups, AA, NA, BA, CA, ZA, the rest of them, they're talking in a common experience, and that takes the edge off. It doesn't let a guard down, but it takes an edge off, and it makes you realize that, hey, this person actually kind of gets where I'm coming from. So talk to people. Ask them how they're feeling. You don't have to be a therapist. You don't have to be a trained therapist to make people laugh, to help them see a perspective that might bring a little laughter into their day. Make a funny face. Do something stupid. They'll laugh. Not everyone, but it's a start. Break the ice. So this mental health component to food concept, what we take in through the other senses, not just through our mouth, eyes, ears, smell, the other basic senses. What we take in is what I'm talking about when I say feed the hungry, feed the poor. No, don't give them false hope. This isn't what we're shooting at, hope. Because hope, like dope, wears off. We want something more sustaining. Engage with the down and out. If you've got the motivation to do so. If you don't want to engage with them physically, say a little positive thought, not a prayer, although those are okay to a degree. Say something nice. Think something nice for that person quietly to yourself. There are energies listening. Not so much angels, but there are consciousnesses, spirit concepts that are up there that they're part of this world. You might not know it yet. But the more you watch this channel and laugh and listen to good music and go out in nature and spend time with your pets, you'll get it more. So, feeding people good stuff that they can use to feel better in the moment, it's not hard. It's really not that hard. The mental care aspect of homelessness is a huge arc. Actually, it's a full circle once again. When we think it's an arc of probability, we don't see the other half of the arc. We rarely see that there are three sides to a coin. And those of you that get that one will realize, oh yeah, the edge is the third side. Hey, Edge, keep playing. You too can be in the band. Hey, Edge, and Bono, and Adam. And the third member, whose name eludes me now, But you know who you are. Everyone else knows who they are if they're U2 fans. Adam? Anyway, it'll come to me maybe before this is over. Look, I've already gone 15 minutes babbling on here. I'm just a babbler. So, we'll introduce you to the band. We'll play music for you. We'll let you compose with us and play with us. That's for further along. Right now we're talking about the homeless situation. So, food, mental and physical. And into the mental, we're getting mental health. As I said, there are lots of people that are addressing this now. It's not verboten or bad style to talk about mental health. In fact, if you want to be hip, if you want to really help people, delve in your own mental perceptive reality in here and breath, and then you'll start to see what we're talking about here. It's okay to talk about our problems, even if it's to ourself in breath, meditating in silence, or talking to ourselves like maybe I'm doing right now. Maybe no one will watch this. I may be just talking to myself. That's okay. Dancing with myself. Billy Idol. Have a inner dialogue going. Inner dialogue helps better than most therapy to a great extent. It's not complete. But have that inner conversation. At the end of the day before you fall asleep, well, what did I do today that I might do differently tomorrow if given the chance? That kind of stuff. Just review the things and then let it go so you can sleep at night. If you have to write a few things down to remember them for the next day, fine. It'll help you sleep better at night when you do a little review of the day and see, okay, this last day, this is how it rolled. Might want to tweak a few things if I need to. Most of us could tweak a few of our actions in every day. Not that we're sorry about something we did, but that we could make a little more better, bring a little more good to the situation. This is contemplative, reflective meditation. Not sitting there going, oh. It's meditation of what you've done and how it might be better tomorrow when you slept on it. Great things come in dreams. Ask any visionary, ask any creative person. The stuff that changes the paradigm thinking, a lot of it happens in dream. That's why psychologists are so interested in your dreams. When you get that far along in therapy, if you got the money to do it that way. Or you can do it self-therapy through meditation, breath. It's so simple. You can do it on the toilet in the morning before you're really awake and thinking about a whole bunch of stuff and the mind gets back to monkey mind. Anyway, so food, both physical and mental. And a part of the mental is trauma of life. Let's be serious. We all have trauma experiences in life of varying degrees. Some of my heroes have put up with so much trauma in their life, don't get me started, I'll start crying. How they can see beyond it and through it and live the next day or want to live in the next day, that's miraculous. It's not coming down from above, but it's coming from in here. Anyway, so physical food, mental food, balance. And then the housing, getting them into some housing situation. A lot of people don't want them in their neighborhood. It'll ruin their property values. Well, actually, it's more complex than that. All major urban areas have places that they can convert, temporary or long-term, into shelters for those who need a roof over their head. Now, not all shelters are groovy, man. There's a lot of crap happening in shelters. That's because there's not enough oversight in them. They're understaffed, and there's not enough money going in. So, tiny homes, yurts. We have these great disaster relief, government-assisted disaster reliefs where there's RVs available, tens of thousands of them, for people in major homeless situations, temporary homeless situations. It's very easy to make that more and more long-term. There's lots of people in refugee camps. If you've ever seen it on these gizmos here, or experienced it, gone into a refugee camp, I'm telling you, it'll hit you here. It's like the Grinch. All of a sudden, you'll have another level of heart and compassion and want to do something to help these people in their time of need. So housing is not as tough, but it can be addressed. I was able to go to the university to learn about construction administration and engineering and architecture and engineering. I took a lot of philosophy and art classes too, blah, blah, blah. So what? Well, well-rounded education doesn't mean getting a degree. You can get a great education right here on these gizmos and not go into debt. If you're motivated, if you're passionate about helping the world move forward, you don't have to pay $100K to go to NYU or NYV or NYZ. Life is an education. Get involved. Care. If you care about others being more balanced and happy, then it naturally kind of starts happening in your own world, in your own life, without even having to address it. Some pretty groovy prophets talked about this, and we'll talk about this more in depth when we get a chance. So here we are already, 23 minutes. The time flies by. The slower and older you get, the quicker time flies, moves. It's kind of like one of Einstein's paradoxes, time paradoxes, time being relative, wherever you are in the universe. So we're going to talk a lot in the next couple of days about how to deal with homelessness. There are some people whose brain chemistry is so out of balance, they need a little bit of interaction with certain assistants that help bring it back into balance. None greater than getting into some kind of mindfulness practice, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow. So before we get to 25 minutes, because I'm going to cut it off there for now, for today, I want to say this is for you out there to help find more peace in here so you can share it out there. No agenda except bringing things back into balance so we can all start laughing more, so we can all get off the ground and maybe start flying. I don't know if you've ever been soaring, but in a glider, don't even have to flap the wings. This is about love. Like Salt and Pepper said, let's talk about sex, our sex. Now let's talk about love. And the O in of is an infinity symbol. So There we go. 25 minutes, a little over. Peace out. Talk to you tomorrow. Be good. You know you're good. You're good. Even if you don't think so right now. Love you. See you tomorrow. Different color shirt maybe. Oh, this is Fire Horse. You're the Fire Horse color.